All of us had this happening to us. We invest into a stock because we thought, how much lower can it go, as it's been already dropping for the past 6 months. Then we finally make the decision to invest in it, only to find out that they just released bad earnings and they're dropping another 25% on the next day. So today we're going to talk about two stocks here. One that we might want to wait until after the earnings have been released for the Q1 2022, and the other one we might want to consider buying before the earnings are released, since there are some potential uplifts here to be expected. If you're new here, I'm Robert, welcome to my channel. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing and liking the video. But let's head straight into the stocks that I want to talk about. First off, Airbnb, ticker symbol ABNB, just released the announcement that they're going to release their Q1 earnings for the first quarter of 2022 on May 3rd. So only about 2 weeks out. And here today I want to talk to you about why you might want to be cautious around investing into Airbnb just now, given the last results we had with Airbnb and given the type of environment we're in right now. So if you look at the numbers that Airbnb had released for their Q4 2021 and also the full year for 2021, they had obviously really impressive numbers on which the stock initially popped, only to drop down further. But overall, actually Airbnb was holding up quite strongly at around the 170 mark. And this is definitely due to the earnings. If you see here, we had 96% year-over-year growth for gross booking value. Nights and experience booked were up 56%, and overall revenue was up 77% for the year of 2021. But what you also see here is what they've given you is the 2-year comparison, comparing that growth to the year prior to COVID, so to the year 2020, because then you actually normalize that growth and you see that it's only up 25% on previous year volume, where there weren't any lockdowns or any other governmental restrictions that might have blocked the travel further. I mean, so we have to consider what are potential impacts that could positively or negatively affect, the revenue and the bookings for the first quarter for Airbnb. And there's definitely two things that come to my mind. I mean, first of all, you would assume that, this upcoming summer, in the European and North American summer, travel should be rebounding pretty quickly, pretty massively, and we should see the effect obviously in the numbers of Airbnb. But I do think that we're not gonna see the full effect of those bookings until after Q1 is done, which is already done now. If you think about your travel plans, you might get started right around now to book stuff for the upcoming summer, and so might also other people do that. Obviously you had things like, the region that I live in, the Australian New Zealand region, you had them locked off and blocked off completely from the rest of the world pretty much for all of 2021 and 2020 as well. And now we are saying that, okay, now it's probably reopening. A lot of people are booking their travels, but this is kind of like that cutoff time. I mean, a lot of people start in March, but those are more the early planners. I would say the majority, the bulk of people will book closer to April, May, and June. So we should see a ramp up in the Q2 of 2022. That's what I'm expecting here. And also obviously another negative effect on the Q1 is the shutdown of services in Russia, which did have some impact on Airbnb. I mean, it's in the single digits, but it might just be that little counter effect to actually bring revenue down to not be as impressive of a growth that we've seen previously. And then obviously we've just talked about being up 77% from last year, which was 2020 in 2021. Now we're up with a high comp value here for 2022, which if you look at the 2-year, it should be more closely to the 20s. So if you're now seeing suddenly a growth, quarter-on-quarter growth of just around 20 or 15, you would assume that, oh my God, something's wrong with Airbnb. If you just look at the pure quarter-on-quarter comparisons, you will see that, last year they had a growth of 77%, now only 25% or even less, with the impact of stuff like Russia and, states just slowly opening up. And don't forget, we had another closure in the Asian area, like Hong Kong and other cities have been heavily affected again by COVID. So there's definitely some mixed results here. But having said that, I do expect this to ramp up quite massively into the summertime. So Q2 should be the one that you should be looking out for, where I expect a massive increase in booking volume and therefore also revenue as such. But just something to be careful about when it comes to investing into it before Q1, especially it's only 2 weeks out and the share price has been around $170 for a while now, which means that basically you don't have to be rushing in. I would see how the Q1 looks after that and then make my investment decision after that. The second stock we want to talk about is HIMS and Hers Health, ticker symbol HIMS. So been tracking around the $5, had a nice rebound today, but tracking around $5, for the past, I would say 2 months. Been had its ups and downs, it been trading as low as 350, I think was the lowest we had, just around 380, 390. But just been tracking around that $5. Always seems to be bouncing back to $5 levels, which gives it a market cap of around $1 billion. So that seems to be the magical number at the moment. But obviously we had 6 months or 1 year downtrend. If you invested back then when it was around $14 or $15, then obviously you're down massively. 2/3 of your position just been vanished. This is obviously long-term play, but why I picked this now to be watching out before the earnings get released, which are getting released on the 9th of May 2022. So also just similar to Airbnb, all in the same week, just 2 weeks out from now. So why I have picked this one to be maybe investing into before earnings is that we had so many positive news coming out for partnerships, for collaborations with HIMS and Hers, with other huge players in the market, with Uber, with Walmart, with heaps of other launching on Amazon as well. I've got a presentation here that's from the investors presentation, just to have an overview here of how many deals they've just been closing. And if you look at this is 2022 here, just around here. So most of those big deals with Walgreens, Bed Bath Beyond, and Amazon, they have just been closing just before 2021. So in the last earnings release, we didn't even see any impact of that. We might have seen just a little revenue bump there, but the full impact of those 3 or 4 deals are going to be mainly coming out now in the Q1, where we're going to see how effective, how well they are being sold on those platforms. And then also we had some other deals like Walmart and CVS, but was in the beginning of 2022. They might not play a huge role. They might be only playing a bigger role going out further down the road. But I do think that those 4 big players, especially Amazon and Walgreens, they will have a positive impact on the Q1 numbers. And I do think that the market might react positively if they see that revenue growth is continuously going into the right direction, continuously going strong, as we had it the last few quarters. The market has actually, always reacted positively, but then the stock price did come down back to that $5 level, that there's a likelihood with positive revenue impact of those big players, which might even outgrow the percentage of revenue growth we've seen so far, that the market will react positively to the stock. It might go easily up in the 10+% range, given the small market cap of HIMS and Hers. And obviously we are tracking HIMS and Hers here on this channel quite closely. And I do think that there is a likelihood here that they will pop on earnings if those new partnerships are positively contributing to their revenue, to their top line. And potentially we can also see some more improvements on the bottom line here as they decrease their operating costs. So this is all I wanted to talk to you about today. So one stock to be a bit more cautious about before the earnings, and one stock to maybe consider buying before earnings based on positive developments that happened towards the end of 2021. Let me know which stocks you are considering to buy before or after a Q1 earnings, as we're heading into the earnings season. And I will obviously make a lot of more videos around actually going through the investors presentations of some of the stocks. So let me know in the comments below what types of stocks you want to see, what types of companies you want me to look into closely. Obviously, I'm going to cover Airbnb, I'm going to cover HIMS, and I'm going to cover a lot of other stocks. I've been thinking about building a new position in either Netflix or Shopify, so I'm going to make some videos about that very soon. But yeah, leave me a comment and see you next time.